Today we step inside the world of scent, style and storytelling with a truly inspiring guest, Elise Pioch Balzac, the founder and creative force behind Maison Balzac. Elise began her career in fashion, working with renowned luxury house Hermès. But it was a move from Paris to Australia that sparked a new vision, one that blended her French heritage with a deep appreciation for rituals of everyday life. In 2012, Maison Balzac was born, a brand that has since captivated design lovers around the globe with its poetic fragrances, hand-blown glassware, and commitment to craftsmanship. Elise's approach is both nostalgic and imaginative, drawing from childhood memories, literature and sensory experiences to create objects and scents that elevate the everyday into something magical. Her brand is a celebration of simplicity, beauty and a distinctly French sensibility with a modern twist. We discuss her journey from the fashion ateliers of Paris to building a cult favourite lifestyle brand in Australia, alongside motherhood and the rituals that shape her life and work. Elise, welcome to Her Design, Her Story. I'm so excited to be speaking to you today. Thank you so much for joining us from Sydney.
Thanks for having me.
Your beautiful backdrop. I'm a huge admirer of your brand and your amazing personal ethos. You've grown an incredible business over the last 13 years, which we'll touch on shortly. But I wanted to go back to the start of your journey. You've had an incredible life to date. Could you talk me through a little bit about your the next steps you took when you finished school? I know you grew up in France and you studied there. What was that first pathway like for you when you finished high school?
Yes, so born in south of France, spent my first 18 years in the south, and then moved to university to actually study French literature and Latin. So I was really into words and the meaning of word, the etymology. I loved, my favorite period was about the 50s, 60s, 70s in French literature. So I studied that for 4 years.
Amazing.
But during that time, I knew that deep down my passion has been fashion, actually, from a very, very early age. My parents realized when I was 3 that I had to do something creative, and in particular, anything related to clothes or colors or texture or collection. So anyway, after 4 years of studying French, then I moved to Paris.
Amazing.
And studied fashion. So I did a master's in French and textile management in a school called l'Institut Français de la Mode, and that translates to the French Fashion Institute. And I was particularly overjoyed to get in because at the time they were only granting access to 20 international students a year.
Oh, wow.
And there were about 1,500 applicants, but there was an interview process and you had to give it your everything. So, it wasn't just you get in or you pay. You just really have to have a little something for them to you. And I think that was the first time I understood that probably I had something to give, I had a little time that they could see. So I studied fashion in Paris, and that was, it's also the first time I realized that that's where I was meant to be. It didn't even feel like school, because really university for 4 years felt like school. You have assessment, you struggle, it's a bit painful, it's a bit pleasurable, a little bit. But when I joined that fashion school, it was 150% pleasure. Knowledge that I already either knew or wanted to know. So felt really at home there.
Oh, that's incredible. When you were growing up, did you have many creative people in your family or anyone around you that was particularly inspiring?
Absolutely. So my grandmother, Martin Balzac, and my mother, Nadine Balzac, they're born with creativity within them. And so my grandmother was all about the home. I'm talking, she's someone who would be 85 now, so from another world, but very French. classic protocols. How do you set a table? But always with
Yeah.
flowers, brass candle holders. And my mum obviously had a more modern approach. My mum then loved fashion as well. I remember very clearly that one dress from Alaya that she had that she would wear every time she was going,
Oh, how beautiful.
and the way she was
Yeah.
putting makeup on. And my grandmother and my mother actually had a perfumery together. So
Oh, incredible.
I know. So it feels like I'm
Yeah,
a
wow.
generation woman into perfume and how to look after yourself, but also how to share a sense of welcoming and warmth with people.
Yeah.
Both their homes were always, you just felt amazing to walk in there. You wanted to stay for hours. And that now I'm trying to look back and think, okay, what is the secret? What made these homes or these walls
Yeah.
so naturally welcoming? And it's yes, so yes, I had a lot of creativity around me, but I think I was also born with a creative fiber inside.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was 4, I think then it was preschool in France. You go to start school at 3 in
Yeah.
France. And
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah,
Start them
it's
early.
early. But they called my mum after school one day, said, you have to come and see this. You need to see what Elise has done. And the assignment was to draw a snail. And all kids drew a little snail. But what I did is I split the shell of the snail into maybe 100 little squares. And
Oh,
I
wow.
drew in each of them with a different color, and it was so perfectly executed. They said, look, we've
It's
been
incredible.
teachers for 20 years. We've never seen a kid so like the minutious, just so
Yeah. Yeah.
exact. And so they said, we wanted you to see because that's not ordinary. So, there was something,
Oh, that's incredible.
creativity was there always.
Oh, that's amazing. So you followed your journey through fashion school
Yeah.
and then completing your studies.
Yes.
One of your first jobs, is that right, was with Hermès,
Hermès, yeah,
which
that was the very,
incredible,
I know. Well,
amazing
finished
first job.
school,
Oh,
exactly, and then went for the interview.
yeah.
Because when you finish that school, usually the students are quite requested because of the way we're trained to really
Yep.
immediately be operational in high-end fashion houses. And so I had an interview at Balenciaga, I had one
Oh,
at
how
Chanel, I
incredible.
had one at Hermès, and I thought, wow, if any of these homes offer me a position, that would be a dream. And yes, I was Hermès was one of those, and it was a maternity cover in the men's department in the press office, which was above the
Yep.
store, the 24 Faubourg Saint-Honoré.
Oh, beautiful.
Absolutely iconic location. Just into
Yeah.
this office, it's like you're wearing, you are immersed in their beautiful, beautiful world. So for a first job, I have to say, I was never dreaming of something that good. And
Starting
glad
at the top.
yeah,
Yeah.
when they called me to say it's, because I knew all the other girls from the same school who applied to the job and went for an interview.
Oh, wow.
And I was
Okay.
sure they would be taken. They had more experience. They were more chic. They were more, more, more. And then when they called me to say it's you, I remember I was in a chambre de bonne. They called maid's bedroom. Their tiny little bedroom on the 7th floor.
Yep.
No lift. No water. I was a student. And when they called to say it's for you, I remember jumping up and down on my bed. I was banging my head on the roof, the ceiling.
Oh,
It was
that's
like,
so
oh my
funny.
God, really the beginning of a dream. It was the dream career, starting for me then. And I
That's
was
incredible.
4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you spent a year working with them,
Oh no, four
is that
years.
right?
Yep. And
4 years in the
complete.
end.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. My studies were 1 year because it was kind of a postgraduate degree. And
Yep.
yeah, 4 years at Hermès. Yeah.
Straight into working, which is
Yeah.
incredible. Was it soon after that that you decided, what was the sort of driver between you? Obviously, have this incredible job in Paris, living out your fashion dream. What was the driver for you to make the move to Australia?
Well, it was actually the real reason, the honest reason was my
Yep.
level of English was so bad. And the job I had at Hermès in the PR environment required me to speak English quite a lot, and it was so embarrassing for me to express myself with my very poor English. So I thought, I'm just going to take a year off from this job, Paris and Hermès, go to an English-speaking country and come back. And then I'll have kind of a more international profile and will be less embarrassed to speak English. Everyone to know, the stylist, the other press office in the world, etc. And I also feel like I've got an absolutely unbeknownst to myself, an adventurous kind of thing in me, because
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I know. And I thought, let's not go to London. Too easy, 2 hours Euros.
Yep.
Canada felt attractive, but also a bit too close. And I thought, wow, Australia is really, it was like, when you press a reset button or
Yep.
turn off something and just when you turn it on, it's a new version of the system, it felt like
Oh,
that.
that's so funny.
Yeah, so I decided to have a year, well, not even, it was actually supposed to be 3 months in Melbourne. So I landed in
Yep.
Melbourne, and it was, how do you call it, in October when you have the races.
Oh, okay.
Races in
Yes.
2004, yeah, and that was quite a shock, the whole thing, the whole cultural shock. But I felt again a bit like starting that fashion studies when I arrived in Melbourne. I felt like it was the right thing to do at that time. I was 28, and
Yep.
and I didn't leave 3 months later. I had
Yeah,
my
I'm
return
thinking you're
ticket.
still here.
I know. And I clearly remember the day of the flight. I had my seat allocation, I had everything.
Oh, wow.
I could picture that plane leaving with that empty chair, so maybe a part of me left
Yeah.
back that day as a ghost, as a ghostly version of
Yeah,
me.
how
But the
incredible.
version that stayed here was very embracing a new life, basically. Yeah. And
Yeah, that's amazing.
yeah.
Which is interesting because obviously, as someone in Australia, I think my ultimate dream would be to go the other way to Paris.
Well, and for me, definitely Paris wasn't the dream, but also you have to
Yeah.
understand, if you were going to Paris, you would be a New Zealand/Australian person going there. But as a
Yeah.
French person in Paris, it felt very redundant, and I felt like I wasn't adding anything. I
Mm,
was just an extension of everybody else. And I thought
yeah.
how interesting it would be to provoke challenges continuously every day, and to be a French person in Australia. And I love that outsider kind of element.
Yeah.
And I feel like growing up in the south of France, then going to Paris, I was already an outsider because there is an accent in the south of France. There is a way of being, which is really kind. And then you
Yeah.
arrive in Paris and they laugh at your accent and they think you're way too French.
Oh, wow.
So there was already a little step, south of France to Paris
Yeah.
was already such a big step, which I'm glad I did between 24 and 28. And probably then I was ready to go to the next step, which is much further and deeper and more meaningful, to go to another
Yeah.
country, and such a faraway one. Yeah.
Yeah. That's incredible. So when you arrived in Melbourne,
Yeah.
one of your first jobs was with Cactus Jam, which I remember when I moved to Melbourne, that was an iconic,
Mm.
particularly here, it was this wonderfully curated, incredible fashion store. You've also worked for Belinda and the Corner Shop, which are also really beautiful, quite unique offerings. What was the experience like working within these businesses, arriving in a different country? Was that sort of a way for you to start to build up your network in
Yeah.
a foreign country?
Absolutely. Well, the purpose was to speak English. So I really wanted to get
Yep.
on the ground in a business where I would have a real situation, having to serve people and pretend I know what they're asking. My first job when I arrived in October 2004 was actually at Hermès in the store on Collins Street.
Oh,
Because
wow.
I
Yeah,
thought that
that's,
was kind of the easier thing, because I knew the products, it felt familiar, but it was all
yeah.
English. And one customer one day walked in. I had worked there for 4 weeks, and he walked in. He was a very elegant man, and he said, "Hi." I said, "Well, how can I help you?" And he said, "Oh, I would like to buy a corkscrew." And that was the first
Oh,
time I heard that word. I was like, "A what? Sorry?" He was like, "A corkscrew." And then so I had to say, "Please hold on, I'm gonna get my team." And I went, I was like, What is that? Well,
Oh.
like, just to open a bottle of wine. I was like, oh, literally all these jobs, so Hermès, Cactus Jam, Belinda, were like going to uni to have a degree in English, vocabulary.
Yep.
I was learning words
Yep.
in situation, but also I've really picked these businesses because obviously they both had, I mean, the three of them had that French element as well of fashion that I knew very well.
Yeah.
Brands like Chloe and Dries Van Noten, Vanessa Bruno, APC, and they were very forward also in the introduction of new brands. And I've always loved finding new things, detecting, having antenna, being a truffle hunter. So when Fiona introduced acne to Australia, that was incredible. She was one of the first
Yep.
citizen of humanity, and Roland Mouret, and she was an incredible buyer, which I'm sure she still is, but when I
Yeah.
was working for her, that was incredible. And then I actually moved to Sydney thanks to Belinda. So then I
Oh, right.
started
Okay.
as a buyer, yeah, because at Cactus Jam, I was a salesperson, then made my way to store manager, and then Fiona took me once to Paris to buy collection because I knew the customers so well. She said, "You'll be such a great asset in the showroom." And ultimately being a fashion buyer was what I wanted to do. And I couldn't believe
Yep.
that year after year I was climbing that ladder, of a
That's amazing.
dream career. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. So in you're working in fashion, and then around 2012 you went out on a bit of a limb and made a series of beautiful handmade candles inspired by your French heritage, and the concept of Maison Balzac was born. What were the first steps like in starting your own business?
So, well, when you said that year in 2012, you made some beautiful candles. I can say also I made some beautiful decisions that year.
Yeah.
I was 36, and that year
It's a
I
big jump.
literally, yeah, started. So I left Belinda because I had in mind to open my new business, and she was very supportive
Yeah.
of that. Then I married the man of my life, Pablo. I fell pregnant to my,
Oh, gorgeous.
so I was ticking every boxes,
Yeah.
work, life, and I feel like that happiness and that energy for life and ideas is all condensed in my first five candles as well. But so the steps I took to actually start my own business, I think the first one was to actually learn how to make candles. And I was doing this after hours when I was still at Belinda for about a year. When
Yeah.
I was at home, we had a study, and I literally invaded that study with a wax melter. I had little fragrance vials. I was using all type of wax. I made such a mess, but I learned so much. And what I learned is that I could do candles, but I couldn't be a perfumer. So then my task was to find a perfumer and also to find a great vessel. So parallel to my daily, very intense work as a fashion buyer,
Yeah.
was emailing right, left, and center worldwide glass blowers because I wanted to have a very beautiful vessel. And once I lined up a perfumer, a vessel, and I already had all my stories, then that's when Maison Balzac could be born. And I registered my ABN in May 2012. Called it Maison Balzac because I knew already, even if it was just first five candles, I knew it would be around the home of Balzac, my grandmother and my mother, and trying to
Yeah, it's
recreate
beautiful.
the very meaningful objects that turn any home into a very warm place. And that's exactly how it started. And so I created 100
It's
first
incredible.
candles. It was 20 of each of the 5 scents. I put them in the boot of my little car, and I drove around Sydney. I called first. They were expecting me, but I delivered the candles to my first five stockists. So it's funny how there is five everywhere in the story. The
Yeah.
stockists were Belinda, Blood Orange at the time in Elizabeth Bay. There was Inku, and there was the Standard Store. People who,
Yeah.
most of them, if they were still existing, would be working with me, but people like Inku I still work with. So that was the very,
Oh, that's incredible.
but I always knew it would grow from there. That was just the first little step.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously now the offering through your business is incredible, and lots of beautiful glassware and table linen and the sort of complete
Yeah.
homeware story. How did things evolve from your initial candles into glassware? Was that another quite intentional
It was.
move for you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I said I found a perfume and a glass blower. Well, that glass blower is so incredible The quality is the highest you can find. It's actually made of Pyrex, so it's very resistant to heat and cold. But also the workshop that they have there, they've got kind of artists that can really transform any of your wildest dream into glass pieces. So I knew as well that I wanted to explore more than one color because my vessels were white. But everything I've done in the last 13 years have been absolutely incremental. So I never went, okay, this year I'm launching 100 new products and 5 categories. I'm quite a safe grower. I'm a safe
Yep.
risk taker. I need to have, I know exactly what I'm doing. I start very small. It's like dipping your toe in the water, making sure the temperature is right. And if it's, or even I compare this to fishing because I love fishing. I love nature. I grew up, barefoot by the sea. And when you
Yeah.
put your little hook with a worm or something in the water, you never know if it's
Yep.
going to be beaten on or not. And I find that for every product, it's like a hook in the ocean with my little glass dingling at the end of the hook. And I see who likes it, who doesn't. And if that's successful, then I add more hooks and more products. But they all have to be in line with my story, my playfulness, my little childhood narrative that I'm unrolling years after years. But yeah, everything is very
Yeah.
small. So I know it started with glassware. I think I was 5 or 6 years into the business. I did the first carafe, which is still my bestseller. You fast forward 7 years
Yeah.
later, it's still number one, my Je Soif carafe, giving them very strange names as well, which I love. I mean, not to me, but they all French name. Actually, even for French people to to name a carafe, I'm thirsty, j'ai soif. It's
Yep.
not usual, but that's how I see the world, and I
Very playful.
guess
Yeah.
that's how, yeah, what makes a difference. So after glassware did so well, I think my third introduction were incense because again, I went to Paris, met the most insane incense makers from Japan, and I was accepted by them as a new client. So then I started having 5 incense scent, and then I needed an incense holder. And it's that evolution around, it's like, little circles that you expand your world, but very slow.
Yeah.
Very, even with clients or even the website, we never bought, I don't know, that everything is very organic and slow. So it feels very safe, but also very genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think as a buyer of your brand, I've absolutely adore your glassware, and I was very excited when your store opened
Oh,
in Armadale in Melbourne a few years ago. But you can really sense that with the pieces, everything feels very considered.
yeah.
It's got this beautiful bespoke nature to it. It's timeless, and it's something you can sort of keep adding to your
Yes.
collection. Everything sort of works
Works
together, which I
together.
think is really,
Yeah.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
At the moment, what do your collection releases look like? Do you design a number of collections a year, or how do you release new products
Yeah,
into the
I
market?
do. And that frequency of collection was highly inspired by my background in fashion. Usually you have, as you know, 4 collections a year, mainly a winter, autumn, winter, and spring, summer. But in between, you would have holiday capsules. So I took that away with me and introduced this for homeware because really what I
Yeah.
do is jewelry for the table. So to me, I'm still playing in the fashion field, but for the home. And so I'm doing 4 collections a year, so every 3 months at the moment. And that's been like this for years now, for probably 5 years. We have about 20 new products that we release every 3 months. And each of them actually tell the story of the theme of the year. So again, it's like every year is a chapter of the Maison Balzac book. And,
Yeah, beautiful.
but I feel recently, I felt like it was a bit too many new objects to release at once, and then there is no space for each of them to shine. It's quite
Yeah.
overwhelming, I think, for a customer to receive so much at once. And what do you select? What do you
Yeah.
myself, to have to extract so much as well, knowing how everything is considered hand blown, handmade, hand assembled. And I'm not a technician at all. I've never actually learned the technique of a product. My husband is an industrial designer, so sometimes he laughs at me,
Yeah.
like, oh, you're drawing. But it's I think this is why my brand is so playful, is because I'm not a technical person. So
Yeah.
little drawings become, that's the brief, to a maker. I had someone to help me
Yeah.
with technique for a little while, and that was fantastic. But then I decided to actually change the strategy. And so no one knows yet, but from January
Oh, wow.
2026, I'm going to introduce maybe 3 to 5 new objects every month for that.
Oh, incredible.
Yep. So that
Yeah.
more, it will be more regular, less, yeah, newness, which means that each of them, I had to really make sure they were meaningful, that I really wanted them, that my team also feels like it's relevant. So we're becoming more concise and more regular,
Yeah.
more frequent, because it's quite a long time to wait 3 months even for our audience to find a new drop of Maison Balzac. So yeah, we're
Yeah.
starting this in January, and I can't
Oh, that's incredible.
yeah, the effect on that, on everything, on us as a team. But yeah, I've already the pretty much the whole year's design and in production. So it's in,
Oh, that's incredible.
yeah,
Because you still have obviously some of your best sellers and like your original candles are still available
yeah.
as part of your collection, is that right? Yeah.
13 years later, Le
It's
Soleil,
incredible.
La Rose, Le Bois, La Chapelle, and Bon, my first five, my lucky five, they're still in the range and still bestsellers. So what
Yeah.
5 candles now is 21 candles, scented candle. And in the collection, we've got about 250 references actually. So that is a lot. And as you said, we keep probably 70% of that becomes its core, things that we've designed years ago, but they're proving to be bestsellers that people want to buy or gift again and again. And then we always have that space of 20-30% of newness on top, just to keep things very amusing for
Yeah.
us.
That's incredible. Your pieces, you have two beautiful stores in Australia, but your pieces are also available at over 200 retailers globally, which is incredible. But I think as a customer, you still feel like there's this really personal sense to the brand and everything's really considered in store. You have done some incredible collaborations with people over the years. It's a big business, but it feels really bespoke. What would you say are some of your key attributes which have allowed you to have this really successful but beautifully sort of unique business in the industry?
From the beginning, the only reason I started my own brand was to actually express my own voice. And I don't know
Yeah.
what got into me that day, but I've really wanted to literally stop the noise of trying to please Belinda or trying to please my parents or my husband. And I thought, no, Elise, you really have to, because there is only one of each of us on this planet, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought also my upbringing was so happy, my career in fashion was so miraculous, to my opinion, that I thought I really need to express all of that and have my voice, my own voice. And as long as I continue to have that as my guide, my guideline, I think that's what you can see. That's what is perceived. And
Yeah.
also, I feel like not having a business plan was the best thing ever, because a business plan would have locked me into trying to translate my intuition into words or boxes. But I had none of that. I went with an absolute open heart. My mission was to actually make sure that every product that I create, if they are gifted, would make the person happy. So they are injected with so much joy and happiness and that's what I get on email, customers saying, oh, wow, I gifted that to my friend. The tears of happiness started to come up, and that every time it touches my heart so much, because that is the purpose of what I do. So I really see
Yeah.
that, and my team knows it. They recently, because I've got a CEO now, and she said, you are the beating heart of the brand. And that was kind of buried for so many years, because I still had to run a business but try to have a
Yeah.
heart. And it's really hard to still find that little flame and excitement when everything is so administratively heavy, or you have to. But with the right team who I have now, most of the noise again has been stripped off my inbox and my plate, and I can continue to be the beating heart, telling story, pushing boundaries, finding new makers, connecting with new artists to have collaborations, and
Yeah.
yeah, to continue telling that very happy story.
That's incredible. What does the structure of your business look like at the moment? How many is your business wholly based in Sydney?
Yeah, so we have one
Yeah.
big warehouse in and in that warehouse, it's a luxury to actually have the products and the team and the showroom and the kitchen and the press office. It's all under one roof, which means that
Oh,
it's
how
an open
wonderful.
space as well. So we've got a mezzanine where it's 10 of us sitting, and literally the 10 of us are running the office. And then we actually have 3 stores. So we have one in Melbourne.
Oh, 3 stores, sorry.
My first one was in Surrey Hills on Burke Street, and the baby one, the recent one, which turned 1 on Saturday, is in the Strand Arcade in the city, in the
Oh,
CBD.
of course.
Yeah, the
Beautiful.
jewel of
Yeah.
the crown. So,
Yeah.
so it's 10 of us in the office, and then there is a team of 1 to 3 person in every store. So let's say in total
Yeah.
we are 19. So and really we have one person for every department. So every chair is a department, which is quite funny. So if you want to talk
That's
to person,
amazing.
it's across there. If you want to talk to finance, 2 desks down. We are a very small structure, and I love.
Very organized
Yeah,
though.
yeah. And they all
Yeah.
individually absolutely outstanding. The team right now is really incredible. And I think that matters as well for the perception of the brand running smoothly and delivering on time and with the right quality. And yes, so it's the addition of these 19 people, that make it happen.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, obviously, in line with the business day to day, there's that continual sense of design and development and finding inspiration. Where do you seek your most inspiration? Is it sort of images, books, or lived experiences? How do you source
Yeah.
for new collections?
Well, it's funny because I still tap into my 8 years old little heart. And because my childhood was the starting point of that brand, I really
Yeah.
keep on remembering things that I used to do. And like I said to you, I love fishing. I used to spend
Yeah.
hours catching prawns as well in little rock pools. In the garden, I would actually befriend the ant nest as well, and I would observe how do they walk in line, what pattern, and if I put my finger in the hole, what happened, and I got beaten, and I was or what birds or flowers, or so I really that bank of memories that I have within me is endless. And then when
That's incredible.
yeah,
Yeah.
so of course there are layers of things from my adult life and all the artists I learned to know, like Jean Cocteau and Dali, Picasso, all the writers, Mallarmé, Proust, Balzac. all.
Yeah.
But today I would say that my childhood is still a well with an infinity well of inspiration, and I haven't probably expressed 1% of what I want to express. And
That's incredible.
it
Yeah.
is. And then, but other than that, every time, and that's why I live surrounded in nature as well. I actually live far away from the office, but that's a sacrifice I'm happy to make because my husband, myself, and my daughter, we really recharge in nature. And I know it sounds stupid, and everyone would love to be in the forest, or but you have to make certain decisions in life that guide you to where you perform the best as a human being. And for us, every night when we come home, we actually live in a home that you can only access by boat. So every night we actually,
Oh, how incredible.
yeah, with the 3 of us are in a little teeny. No matter the weather, it could be windy, tornado, rain, bright sunny
Yeah.
day. But that's also the first contact with the elements you'll get in the morning and the last in the evening. So you expose yourself to nature. Sometimes it's really hard to cross. The wind is so strong, you literally go diagonal. Like,
Oh, that's so
that's
funny.
like a mini adventure morning and evening. And I
Yeah.
of us, we actually need that to recharge and to have stories to tell. We love the brightness and intensity of life. I couldn't just go to cross the street, go to work, go home. It needs to have that madness in the middle as well to shake.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so nature, massive influence, snails, yeah, ants, olives, garlic, my French background, and I devour magazines, devour. My news agent
Oh, that's
sometimes
amazing.
is like, okay, yeah, that's 6 magazine today. What are you going to do with all of that? I was like, that by tonight is going to be devoured. And I've realized that as a creative person, every page you flick, your eye somehow will detect something that maybe your brain hasn't really connected with, but your eye
Yeah.
see it, it imprints in your mind. And then if you see something similar to magazine later, and then that kind of connects, and that becomes a bit of a theme or a recurrent little thing that then you will want to express in your work. So I always
Yeah.
really try to be so open-minded when I go, even when I go to drinks with friends and I'll pick on a detail or on the menu. How did they call that cocktail? Or like I said, World of Interior, AD magazine, every country except America. I think the American one is not the best, but French, shade is mad. Italian AD, and in Australia, I love Belle magazine, Vogue Living. I think Gourmet Traveler are
Yeah.
doing an amazing job at providing, detecting, putting it together. I love, and
There's
interior design.
something,
Yeah.
yeah, so beautiful about, I like having that
Oh yeah.
tangible
Yeah.
in print. So it's been a bit sad a few magazines have started to
I know.
close, but I do, it's also that ability to go back and easily
Yes.
re-access information and just if you
Yes.
sort of need a moment,
But you know
having
what
that
I find hard
tangible.
actually, because I'm so bulimic with my magazine intake or books or coffee. When I think, oh my God, last week I spotted something, where is it? And I never find it again. So I have to,
Oh, really?
it's
I've got
like,
1,000
oh,
post-its.
you do? I should do that. That's a good trick.
I end up tagging most of the magazines, so I'm
Yes.
thinking, what?
See, I will do that after today and my conversation with you. I'll mark
Yeah,
the things that
it's
catch
good.
my eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, I always grew up. My mum always had a lot of magazines at home, and I actually now I reflect back, I do love that really tangible
Yeah.
aspect. Yeah, particularly with those international magazines as well. You can obviously find things online and things like that, but I think there's something really special about
And the slowness of
having the
turning a
print.
page, that
Yeah,
that gesture as well. And like you said, you can actually turn it again and pull. Yeah, sometimes I rip pages. It's rare, but yeah, I do sometimes.
yeah. Touching on obviously where you were living with your daughter and your husband, you obviously have a busy life, sort of in line with the work that you're doing. What does that sort of balance? Is that quite a blurred boundary between sort of work and family
There is
for you on a weekly basis?
absolutely not boundaries.
Yeah,
Times has been very, very hard. And I guess
yeah,
also that's the price to pay when you start a business that is so personal, because you literally
yeah,
put yourself, uh, you open your guts to everyone every day. And then when I come home, I'm still Maison Balzac because that's where I was since I was born. And
yeah,
so to my opinion, in my case, there is absolutely no work-life balance. I call this a work-work balance. It's basically
yeah,
all about work, but work is also so personal. Then I wouldn't know how to
yeah,
define how to have a distinction. And I have to say that for the first few years of Maison Balzac, I was really trying hard to have that work-life balance because it's kind of an
yeah,
injunction that we have in the world. You hear it all the time. Even in an interview, they ask you how will you keep that, and I feel like I was really trying to obey to that rule, and it's just not
yeah,
working for me. So after one burnout in particular, trying to really separate, then I kind of started to lean in and accept that in my case, work is life and life is work. And now I'm a bit more relaxed about it all and I don't feel as guilty. I
yeah,
remember very clearly breastfeeding my daughter at 9 months old, trying to answer an email, or when I went to the park with her when she was 3. And sometimes I knew I was expecting a very important email. So I was scrolling, waiting for that email and not watching her swing on the swing. And all these moments generate so much guilt. And I think
yeah.
I should have just have told myself right now, you can do it all and it's okay. And there is no definition. So yes, now it's better.
Oh, I think it's also, and everyone's personal boundary, what brings us joy or what our version of success looks like, or particularly being creative, it's not always something that you can just sweat. There's never a finite point,
Exactly.
which I find quite interesting compared to
Yeah.
other roles that people are doing. I find you can sort of keep going and going and going, and particularly if you're running your own business and you're really the heart of your business as well. So I think that's a really refreshingly honest approach, actually.
And I think it's some people need to hear that it's it might break you if you really try hard to go against the current, your own,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I think it's special as well to find something that you feel so passionate about as well. That
Exactly.
obviously it's a joy to be doing, and I think you can feel that in the beautiful work that you're doing.
Yeah.
That's
No, you're right. There is
a strong passion there.
yeah,
Yeah,
the pleasure component of doing hard
yeah,
work. And even if I look back, yes, it was, it was intense and difficult at time, but I cannot ignore all the pleasure I had doing it at the same time. So yeah, goodbye guilt.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Before we wrap today, it's time for her edit. So I wanted to ask you some quick questions before we finish. I'm really intrigued with this one. Can you remember your first design-related purchase you ever made?
I really do. So at 24, when I moved to Paris, I went to
Yeah.
Bon Marché and there was a special on the Gay Aulenti Pipistrella lamp. And I got
Oh,
the black
wow.
base, white shade, the biggest size. And I still have it's at my parents' house, but it is my first piece of design and I'm so proud of it. It's timeless. And she's a hero of
Yeah,
mine as well, Gay Aulenti.
beautiful. Yeah, that's a very, very tasteful first purchase. Are there any particular design items you're currently coveting,
To be
or any brands that you
Yeah, well, it's funny because I'm so
you love?
content with what I have, and I feel like I reached a stage in my life where I'm actually all I want is what I already have. Isn't it
Oh, that's
that
good.
much? I'm quite choosy. I know. But but
Yeah.
but if there is something that caught my eyes last time I was in Paris in July, and it's the F300 Gubi chair by Pierre,
Oh, beautiful.
designed in the 60s that they just reedited. And I saw it in the window in like a rusty velvet, covered in the metallic frame. And I thought, what on earth is that? So that would be the F300, Gubi F300.
Oh, that's amazing. Excellent choice. Um, I'm assuming you still travel back to
Yeah,
France
a lot.
a little bit. What's your sort of next aspirational travel destination if you could go anywhere?
Well, again, we love our home so much, and during the week we're all swollen, taken away from it by work or school. But any opportunity we have to stay home, we take it. So Christmas holiday
Yeah.
gonna be here. Every school holiday we stay. Every weekend, it's like every time with my husband we think, should we go on holiday, book Fiji? Or I was like, no, let's stay home.
That's
However,
wonderful.
I know there is one place that for the entire family is special, and it's Cadaqués. It's the village in the northeast of Spain. It was Salvador Dali's holiday village, and that's
Oh,
where we had
wow.
our honeymoon. I used to go there for weekends when I was a little girl with my parents. It's an incredible village that stayed identical to what it was as a fishing village in the 40s, 50s. Yeah,
Yeah.
say it too much because I wanted to stay a bit under, but
Keep it keep
that's
it
it.
personal,
It would
yeah.
be Cadaqués.
Oh, beautiful. What do you have any favorite creative icons, living or legend?
Oh, I do. Her name is Elsa Schiaparelli, and yeah,
Ah,
fashion designers.
yes.
Born in Italy, but was creating in France in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. She's really my hero in the surreal world and
Yeah.
avant-garde, and actually the entire collection next year will be dedicated to her, actually, for Maison
Oh,
Balzac.
wow. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah,
I love that bridge between sort of fashion and
always.
home, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Again, no
no, that's
delimitation
really special.
between the two.
Yeah. Um, if you were to describe your aesthetic, could you summarize it in 3 words?
So look, I think the number one word would be playful, because yeah,
Yeah.
playful. Then probably warm, and the last one would be androgynous.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. And the final question, if your style was a celebrity, who would it be?
Um, it would be a man, and he's
Yep.
not living, but it would be Jean Cocteau. Jean Cocteau is my absolute.
Yeah.
hero, the way
Yeah.
he thinks, the way he creates, the multitask element about him. Yeah, Jean Cocteau would be. But that is very, how do you say, you know, that's me trying to elevate my style, and I'm so far away from it. So yeah, it's yeah, just to answer your question, but yeah.
No, I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for your time today, Elise. It's been such a pleasure to speak to you and hear all your wonderful ethos behind your brand. And wish you all the very best with your new approach in the new year, and look forward to seeing what Maison Balzac has to offer.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure. I'll see you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.